pain is pain, loss is loss. And we all have our ways to deal with it.
Yep.
And, you know, I've watched people self-medicate before. I've seen, people have a sip of wine or, go to the bar and all of that. So for me, it was just movies and video games.
Well, I commend you for turning your burden into a blessing, because you learned the lesson and you did it in a positive way. And a lot of people don't even see how you can turn something negative into a positive, and how your trauma can be something that's positive. And that's rare. And this is the first time I've ever heard somebody say it that way. So maybe that is an outlet. Find something positive instead of the negative, because I told you before, and I've said it many times, man, I think people understand that now. It's like, I know part of my pain of why I did a lot of things that I did, and not using this as an excuse. I still take full accountability for everything I've ever done in relationships or whatever. But I know from therapy and talking it through the why of why I was a womanizer, because that made me feel good. That was my cocaine. That was my alcohol. That was because I've never abused alcohol. I've never abused cocaine, anything like that. But when I was feeling down, depressed, when I was feeling inadequate, I would always turn to a woman, because a woman would make me feel better. Not just the sex, but some of the things that a woman would say to you. You're a king, you're beautiful, and you hear these things, and it's almost like it feeds a different endorphin, man, and it makes you feel better about yourself. And so I'm not saying that, if you're not hearing it at home, that you should go find it other places. But if you're not hearing it at home, and you're going through this and the person you're with doesn't understand, you start to lean towards it. Now, what I've learned that because I go through therapy, that I have to feed myself, even if I'm not being fed by someone else.
Yeah.
Loving yourself, overcoming loss, loving yourself is so much more important than anyone else loving you, because you cannot expect anyone to love you unless you love yourself. You have got to pour into yourself. You got to feed yourself. You have got to make yourself happy before anybody else makes you happy. And so you can't supplement that from anything else, even when you're dealing with a loss.
And you're absolutely right. And people will ask you, well, how do I make myself happy? Right? Like, what do I do to make myself happy? And my advice, not that I'm a therapist, but I am in therapy.
Yeah.
My advice would be, find the one little thing that you love doing. And I mean the little thing. It could be a crossword puzzle. It could be the smallest thing that, for however long you do it, you just feel safe. And focus in on that thing. It could be pouring yourself into others, your family, your significant other, your kids, whatever that is that brings you joy. It's the only way that you can really encompass loss. And I tell you this, everyone's different. Everyone experiences loss and deals with it in different ways.
Right. And at different times, and it takes time.
But we're human. And the one thing, you said it right there, the one thing that we all have in common is time.
Yes.
Time is the great equalizer, because no matter how painful something is today, tomorrow is less painful.
Yeah.
And you may not feel that it's less painful, but the day after tomorrow, it's less painful.
What's the you may endure weeping for tonight, but joy comes in the morning.
You never know.
And you never know. But once again, it's like, you have an opportunity. Once again, when you lose something or someone, realize that tomorrow is not guaranteed. But if you get that opportunity, use that as the blessing. And to a point of switching things around, going through therapy has also made me realize that not just losing loved ones, but losing jobs and losing opportunities and things like that. In the last 2.5 years, lost a job. Had this main job that I was doing, making great money, national show and everything. Go to work one day, wake up the next morning, and the show's bankrupt and you're out of work.
Gone.
And that was 2.5 years ago. And I haven't had anything consistent since then. But I've been hustling and I found my way. But once again, sometimes, bro, loss, and people hate to see it that way, but sometimes loss is the best thing for you. Not the loss of a loved one, obviously. Right. You hate to see anybody lose a loved one, keep their legacy. But when you lose friends, and when you lose opportunities or jobs, and I told you about some of the opportunities, I told you that there was a situation where I heard that somebody was speaking negatively about me for whatever reason, because I was on the Housewives show. Mm-hmm. Cost me a huge opportunity because of that or whatever. All they had to do is say the magic words of this and that. And I wasn't able to get that opportunity. But when I was upset at the beginning, I was thinking, I was like, what if that person did me a favor? Because all opportunities aren't the right opportunities.
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah.
All friendships that you have, sometimes you'll lose a friend because that friend isn't meant to go with you in the next phase of your life. That friend could have been an anchor. That friend could have dragged you down. That friend may not be ready for you to take that next step in the blessings that you have or the favor that you have in the next step of your life. In order for you to get that favor, in order for you to get that next blessing, you had to cut ties with the person that was holding you down. So sometimes loss is good.
Yeah, we don't see what tomorrow holds. We don't know the future, right? If you're spiritual and you believe in God, it's all part of God's plan, right? It's all been written, right? And so while you're haggling over the whys, start looking for, the next step, right? Don't wonder why this and why that. How about now what?
Now what? Okay.
Right? How about now what? All right. I lost that opportunity. So now what?
Right.
All right. Man, we fell out. I loved her. We're no longer together. Okay, so now what? Right? Because there is something at the end of the now what. There is an answer to that question. There may not be an answer to the why until you get to what's next. Oh.
Yep.
Now I see.
Yep.
Right? Broke up with her. 6 months later, I end up meeting the love of my life, my wife. You don't know. Oh, my God.
That's probably not going to happen.
I didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted that job. That was my dream job. 6 months later, right? Oh, my God.
Can I tell you a story on that?
Go ahead.
Especially that part right there. When I was in Dallas, got fired in Dallas. Long story, terrible boss, whatever.
You're getting fired from a lot of jobs, man. Don't get fired from this one, man. We need this one, man. Hey, whoever out there, don't fire him, man. We
right
doing
now,
this.
Every time that something has happened, a bigger blessing came.
There you go.
So that's the way
I hope this the big blessing. I hope this
could be the big blessing, whatever. But I got fired. That was the only time I've ever been fired. Other times have been like, anyway, let go. Well, that time I got fired, I was out of work for a year and a half. Had a family, newborn child, everything, man, dire straits. I was desperate. Finally couldn't get anything. Felt like I was being blackballed in the business. Finally, some doors started opening up. There was an opportunity in Tampa. That's when I was working in Dallas. Went to Tampa, did the audition. This man tells me, he says, as long as I don't find out you're an axe murderer. That's his direct quote.
Okay.
As long as I don't find out you're an axe murderer, this is your job. I go next door to take the piss test. You take the piss test, you pretty much in there.
In.
I said, I ain't smoked no weed, so I know I'm good. I ain't no axe murderer, I ain't smoked no weed. So I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to get back in this business. I've been out of the year for a year and a half. Take that. Don't hear anything for 2 weeks, bro. Don't hear anything for 2 weeks. I called back to this producer I met while I was there. Bro, what's going on? I'm like, I had started looking at houses in the Tampa area, everything. I'm just doing the job, knowing the job's mine. He said, they're not going to bring you in because the guy who fired you in Dallas is talking negatively about you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm pissed, man. I'm in my car, getting my Ford Explorer at the time. I'm going down the turnpike in Dallas, and I'm about to hurt this dude. I swear to God, Ephraim, I'm about to hurt this dude. I'm about to Somebody going to jail that night. Somebody going. I'm dead serious, bro. This is the maddest I've ever been in my life, man. I'm serious, man, because he's now. Not only did this man fire me, without cause or whatever, unfairly, but now you're messing with my future, and I didn't do anything to do
and my family's livelihood.
And this is my family, man. I'm looking at my child. I want to feed my kids, man. I'm on that turnpike, man. I'm mad. I'm like, I'm going to go to jail tonight because I'm going to hurt this man. I swear to God. I don't know what it was, E, but I was so hot, and it had to be like 95 degrees at night in Dallas. You know how it gets them. I was so hot, the air conditioner's blowing, man, and nothing would cool me down, so I let my window down. When I let the window down, I swear to God, bruh, and I think, boy, I get emotional even thinking about this. I swear to God, bruh, I heard a voice that said, what you doing? He said, you about to mess it up. You about to, woo. He said, you about to mess it up. And as mad as I was, bruh, just that quickly, man, I calmed down to the calmest I've ever been in my life, man.